third. There you go. So Josh, thank you very much for doing this for this group. Your presentation. I have met you in a networking meeting through Zoom. You are in Florida and we are in Massachusetts. And I heard your 10 minutes presentation. And then I went to your workshop. And then I was so impressed that I had a one-on-one meeting with you. And you always have something new to tell. And how you do your presentation, that's amazing. That's very inspiring. So therefore, I ask you to be here. And thank you very much for accepting that. And I wanted to introduce you in a different way, but I think you could introduce yourself so much better than I could. So please take it away here.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. So first thing I always love saying is, I'll just put this up here so I don't forget, is good morning, champions. Yes, it is. I don't care what the clock says. It's good morning. And I can explain that later if anybody wants to ask me. And champions, I don't say that lightly. No matter what you've been told, I promise, and I will share some of that in this presentation, that you were born to be great. You were born for greatness. You were born to be champions. You were born to take that gift, that genius that's inside of you and bring it to the world. So good morning, champions. Now, I'm going to keep this presentation on the quicker side because I want to give opportunity for questions. But we're going to have fun. And I would say if anybody wants to raise their hand or shout out if they have a question, we can keep it conversational. You're not going to derail me. We don't have to keep everything till the end. So whatever works best, if there's something burning in on your paper there, put it into the chat or raise your hand or something like that. And Monica, if you can help me, just if someone has a question, then, oh, there we go. I see the thumbs up. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so let's get into this. So killer presentation. What is this killer presentation? What are we killing? Let's find out here. First, why? Why do we present? Why present? Why? Why? I can give you a lot of reasons why we shouldn't present. Public speaking is the #1 fear in the US. 25% of the population hates speaking. They're absolutely deathly afraid to give a presentation. It takes a lot of time and effort. Why present? I want some interaction here. If anyone has any ideas, why present? Why go through all the pain and the challenge and the problems and the work? And why? Is it just to stand up here and look good, sound good? Hey, look at me, everyone. Is it to brag?
Everything is a presentation.
Ah,
everything is a presentation. When I meet somebody, I present myself. If I talk to somebody about my business, I present my business.
Yeah, in that sense, everything is. So you bring up an excellent point, and I know Eva has her hand up. Let me just extrapolate on your point, Monica, because this is really important. The #1 rule to presenting is don't present, is to have a conversation. So Monica, you're talking about we always have conversations with people, right? We're always sharing and back and forth. So you hit on something really key there. Go ahead, Eva.
I just wanted to say we present because we want to share something with other people. That's how I see it. Maybe our knowledge, maybe our talent, maybe something what we feel that it's ours and it deserves something to show to other people.
Yes, yes, sharing is excellent. That's exactly what we need to do. The question is, for what purpose? You mentioned educating, right? You mentioned like for teaching, for sharing knowledge. Education's good. Education is good, but you've heard the phrase that knowledge itself isn't power, but knowledge with action behind it is where the true power lies. Like having information is good, but taking action and doing something with it is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So what I want to challenge everyone here is presenting to educate is great. It's fine. It's wonderful. but presenting in a way that helps people take action is even better. And this is what a killer presentation is about, because apathy kills. And a killer presentation kills apathy. A killer presentation gets people on their feet. It gets people from no longer accepting the same thing over and over, right? It gets people to stand up. It gets them to wake up. It gets them to stand out. It gets them to make a change in their life. This is the kind of presentation I want to share with you today, right? I want to share a killer presentation. You can educate. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But if you want to move somebody, if you want to get them to, if you want to be that speed bump in their life to where they can never be the same after speaking with you, after listening to your value and hearing and share your value and share your genius, this is the kind of presentation we're going to talk about. But first, you got to speak their language. So before we get into the flow, I'm going to share a flow on how to give a killer presentation. But I wanted to share this, and I just added this real quick, like 20 minutes ago, just for fun. You got to speak their language. What language does your audience speak?
Hungarian.
And I know Hungarian, exactly, right? I mean, I'm talking to a whole bunch of bilingual or trilingual, or some of you probably speak 10 languages. I mean, it's freaking impressive.
Sorry, I couldn't.
But yeah, so it might be Hungarian, it might be English, it might be French, it might be Spanish, it might be Romanian. Vorbiți românește? Anybody? No? Okay.
Nope.
I speak just a tiny little bit Romanian. So there's a language that's universal though. And this is the language that is going to really speak to your audience. It's called the human language. It's the most powerful and attractive language in the entire world. The fun part about the human language is it has no words. There's no words to it. And here's the thing, when there's no words, there's no lying. There's no deception. There's no faking it. You can't. It's only emotion and energy. It's your truth from the inside that just comes out. And we speak the human language all the time. All the time. Have you ever met somebody and maybe they're giving you a sales pitch, or maybe they're talking to you about something, and you just get that gut feeling like, I don't like this person. There's something off. There's something not quite right. Their words sound good. They're saying all the right words, but something in your gut just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know about this fella, right? That's the human language that they're speaking. They don't even know they're speaking it. They think the words are the what's talking to you, but it's not. It's their emotion, it's their energy, it's their intention that's coming through their emotions and everything. So while words may open minds, words work analytically, it's the conviction that opens hearts. Conviction. Everything in presenting, everything when you articulate, everything when it comes to conversations, all come down to conviction. And this is what I want to share with you real quick before we get into the actual killer presentation flow. Conviction. So let's start. There's 3 C's. There's 3 C's I want everyone to, and please write this down or take some notes on this. Everything starts with clarity, right? Clarity is being able to see the finish line. Clarity is knowing why exactly you put 2 feet on the ground in the morning. You know, it's why you're in business. It's why you exist. It's that clarity. And clarity is basically like, I see this, right? I see this. You can see clearly. With clarity comes confidence. When you can see clearly, you have confidence. Now think about like driving a car. If it's really foggy out, if it's just really thick fog, you can't quite see, how fast are you going in the car? Not going very fast, are you? Right? You're kind of going to stay in park, or you're going to really, really carefully kind of navigate. You're not going you don't have a lot of confidence in driving because you can't see. There's no difference here in life and in business. So clarity leads to confidence. But confidence now is still analytical. Confidence is like, I got this. I know that I know. So clarity is I know. Confidence is I know that I know. Still up here. But here's the cool part. When it goes from your head to your heart, that's called conviction. When it's no longer what you do, but it's what you are, that's conviction. That's where you don't have to come up with any special words. You don't have to have a certain presentation flow. You don't have to have anything. You just have to look, when someone gives a presentation, you don't have to believe a word they say. You just have to believe that they believe what they're saying. You ever hear like a preacher or someone really convicted in their message and you just like, I don't know if they're saying is right, but boy, they sure believe it. And it's just it's very attractive. So as you go from clarity to confidence to conviction, your energy goes up, and so does your attractiveness in terms of business, in terms of people compelled to your message. So just keep this in mind. I love the 3 C's concept. I wanted to share it before we get into really what I was going to talk about, which is the killer presentation flow. Any questions on this? Let me just pause. If there's any questions, does this make sense?
No, it's good.
Okay. All right. All right, now for real. So I'm going to share a flow. And by the way, I don't do scripts. I don't believe in scripts. Scripts are like words and they're usually borrowed. And when you borrow someone else's words and they're not yours, it's kind of like lying, right? And that's why you see a lot of folks trying to sell, like you see I see this on Facebook and LinkedIn a lot. People like, buy my script. I made $1 million with this script. And then you buy their script for like 5,000 and you can't make any money with it. The part they don't tell you is that those were their words. That was their script. They believe that. That was their truth. You took their truth and you tried to use it for yourself, and it wasn't true for you. And it didn't come across. The energy wasn't behind it, and it doesn't work. So killer presentation flow is all about how energy and emotion flow through a presentation. And the idea is you're talking about something that you care about, right? Something that's important to you. And this is not a sales pitch. So a real good killer presentation does not get into any low-level product or sales as the main focus. It's a piece of it, but it's not the main focus. We're raising the conversation now. We're at the mission level, the purpose level. And this is what we're going to go through. So if I had to do a presentation about anything, right, especially something I care about, which is the only thing I would present about, it might go a little something like this. First thing I would do is I'd wake them up. You know, it's interesting. I get people telling me, Josh, I want to give an interesting presentation. I don't want to put people to sleep. They're like, all right, hold on a second. Time out. People are sleeping before you even open your mouth. When I say they're asleep, they're distracted, right? They're thinking like, oh my goodness, who liked my post on Facebook? Is my cat throwing up on the carpet? My cat just, even before, just pooped on the carpet this evening. It had something happen. You know, all this stuff going on in our lives. So your job as a presenter, #1 job, is to wake people up. How do you do that? A lot of different ways. You can bust a myth. Maybe there's some myth out there that you as the industry expert, you know, and you can just bust for them. Something that like they never even thought of. Maybe it's a shocking statistic, or maybe even just asking a powerful question. All right. Our job is to wake them up. So if it were me, I might say something like shy equals broke in business, right? And less shy equals less broke. And that many entrepreneurs and business owners don't even know how shy they are and how much it's absolutely killing their business, how much we're hiding behind our products, how deathly afraid we are to like stand out. So the thing is, in business, the #1 killer of business is obscurity, just not being known. The #2 killer of business is being forgotten. So shy in business, really, really bad idea. Right? But how many times do we think about that? So that's #1. We gotta shock people. We got to get their attention, and not just shock value only, but get them thinking, get them into the conversation with you right off the bat. #2, we gotta sell the problem. Gotta sell the problem. #1 mistake I see in sales, and I did professional sales coaching for years. #1 mistake I always see, people try and sell their product or their solution. Now that sounds weird, right? Well, Josh, I thought I'm supposed to sell my product, right? Isn't that the whole point? No, you do not sell the product. You never sell the product. And if you sell the product, you're going to struggle. For example, water. I like water. I drink a lot of water. I fill this thing up probably 8 times a day. So If I came to you and said, hey, look at my water. Is my water great? It's like wonderful. It's triple ozonated. It's filtered. It's tears of God in a bottle. It's like water right off the Andes Mountains. It's like awesome. Don't you want my water? Please, please drink my water. And you're thinking, I'm not thirsty. Besides, who are you? Right? It's like, you can't just sell the solution. What you want to do is you want to get people to agree on the problem. If you sell the problem right, you can offer the solution. The solution's obvious. If you and I agree that dehydration is destroying your family, it's killing your business, it's hurting your career, and it's going to end your life early, and that if it's that severe, you'd buy any water I offer, right? Once we agree on that and you get people nodding and like, okay, yeah, that's the problem, then it's easy to offer the solution later. Now, I want to be very clear on this. In sales, they tell you, or they a lot of times, even in presentations, people want to like hit you over the head with the problem, right? Like, what's the matter with you? Don't you know dehydration's bad? Didn't you learn that in school? What are you doing to yourself, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to come from a place of judgment or shame or anything like that. Selling the problem is about empathizing. So this number 2 step is about empathizing with your audience. Saying to your audience, not saying it directly, but saying it through your emotion, saying it through your intention, that you understand where they're at in life. People want to know, if you're up here presenting, they want to know, like, do you even know what I'm going through? You're talking to me, but do you even know for a second what I'm going through in life? Can you empathize with me? Do you know what wakes me up 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat? That's got to come across in your presentation, right? You've got to be able to do that. So for me, what's the problem? When I talk to my folks, I talk to them, why are we so shy? Why are we so shy? That's the number 1 question, right? That's the problem. Why are we shy? We know shy is the problem, right? You can't be shy in business. Why are we shy? There's a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. Some of us, we're just not clear on what we do. And when we're not clear, we sure as heck are not going to be shouting from the rooftops, right? We're not going to have the confidence to go out there and share it. Some of us think we're afraid of public speaking, but we're actually not. And I'm saying this as a very shy, negative, skeptical introvert. I am severely introverted. I don't sound like it, but I'm severely introverted. So we think we're afraid of public speak, but we're actually not. And ask me about that one later. But mostly, we're deathly afraid to take a stand. We are so afraid to say what we really mean. What are they going to think about me, Josh? That's what I hear all the time. What are they going to think about me if I actually tell them the truth? If I take a stand, Josh, if I say what I want to say, from a place of love and good intentions, what are they going to think about me? If you're in business, and I think everyone on this call is in business, that they ever think about you again is a good thing. Remember, we talked about being obscure. Number 1 killer business is obscurity. You want them to think about you, and that's okay. So the worst thing we could be is invisible. So you want them to think about you. But we understand the problem now, right? We're just afraid to take a stand. We don't have that clarity we need to get out there and really shine. Number 3 part of a killer presentation. So we've shocked them, right? They're listening to us. We sold the problem. They're nodding in agreement. They're like, yep, that's me. You're talking right to me. I got you, right to my heart. Yep, you understand me. Now, what are you? Now's the time for introduction, right? Now's the time for you, but not just who you are. And who you are is a great question. Who you are is a beautiful person, right? It's your background, it's where you were born, it's maybe your religion or nationality or race or any of that sort of stuff. It's beautiful. But what you are is your identity. What you are is your identity. And your identity, not only do you get to choose your own identity, but you have to. If we don't choose our own identity, if we don't say, this is what my life means moving forward, this is what I'm standing for, we're going to get labeled. And it's going to be a borrowed label at that, and it's not going to serve us very well. So this is the time for us to say, this is what we stand for. This is who we are, and this is what we are. So for example, I might say, hi, I'm Josh, right? Finally, you get to introduce yourself at this point after the other stuff. So now I'm going to say, hi, I'm Josh. and I'm the identity archaeologist, right? And you're probably thinking, Josh, what does that even mean? What does an identity archaeologist even do? What it means is very simply that I have no competition. Serious about that. I know it sounds like a joke, and I am a semi-professional comedian. That's another whole story, but that's not actually a joke. I actually don't have any competition. And you have to admit, in business, that's a pretty fun place to be, to not have any competition. Nobody can do what I do the way I do it. It's not possible. They can copy it, they could try, and they have, but they fail every time. So, but really, my identity, which is the identity archaeologist, speaks to my genius, how I take my genius and I apply it to a commodity called personal branding, right? It's how I get to dig deep into a person, find their treasure, take that treasure up to the surface, dust off all the bad conditioning and all the stuff we were told growing up about, oh, honey, there's no money in that, or you can't do that, or keep your head down. We get rid of all that stuff, and then we polish and refine someone's treasure, their uniqueness, until it shines so bright, people come from thousands of miles to come see it. So there's no more selling. Can you imagine not having to sell anymore, where you shine your uniqueness and people find you, they're magnetically attracted towards you? This is what we're talking about. Because really, I'm on a mission. For me, it's a dagger to my soul when I see an amazing solopreneur or a talented professional with a heart of gold, unable to get the time of day from their ideal prospect because they lack the skill, the message, the confidence, right, to move that conversation forward, right, to make the really compelling business first impression and move the conversation to the sales conversation and move it forward. So now, what have we done so far? People are paying attention, right? We shared something that just kind of made them say, huh? What did she just say? What did he just say? Right? We sold the problem. Everyone's agreeing like, yep, this is the problem. We got to do something about it. Now you introduce yourself. Now, number 4, why do you care? Why is this important to you? Nobody cares what you know until they know why you care. I'll say it one more time. This is really important. Nobody cares what you know until they know why you care. Because there's a lot of people out there that maybe are offering something similar or the exact same thing. Why do I care? Why is this important to me? Why am I speaking with you? Why am I up here on stage? Why am I the one leading this presentation right now? Why am I doing that? Why not someone else? Or why am I not talking about something else? Or why am I not somewhere else? Why? Why do I care? And why am I the right person to bring this to the world? I'm guessing and I'm betting on that there's something in your story that relates to what you do. There was something in your background, in your past, that made you so passionate about what you're talking about. So that's got to come out. So I'd probably share with you how I grew up as a soldier. Not an actual soldier, metaphorically, but I was the good soldier, right? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I did everything I was told to do. I went to school. I got all the multiple degrees. I got the safe, secure job, right? But I was told to keep my head down. I was told, Josh, obey the rules, right? That's how you get to succeed. You just do what you're told, obey the rules. And I did, and it didn't work out. So I lived a shy my entire life is what I call it. Some people live a lie. I lived a shy. But let me tell you something. No more am I going to be tiptoeing through life, hoping to make it safely to death. No more. And it's one of the worst things I see people do. They just exist. They just try and get day by day. And then one day there's no more days. They're gone. But they never really just went for it. They never really decided to take their genius and bring it to the world. So not me and not anyone else on my mission is going to do that. Now, number 5, this is probably the part you thought I was going to start with, which it's not. Now you get to share your solution. This is the part everyone loves. Like, oh, finally, Josh, now I get to share what I do. Now I actually get to share the solution and my product and my service. Yes, you finally get to share it. But look what you've already done. You've already woken people up. You've already connected with them emotionally about the problem. They're like, this person who's speaking gets me. You've already shared what your mission is and how you're never going to stop until you get there. You've already talked about why it's so important to you. So now they can relate. Now they can see themselves in your story. Finally, now they're ready to learn more about your solution. and what you're doing. So how much do you share here? It depends on how much time you have. But what you typically want to do is you don't want to have a lot of detail here. What you want to talk about is the transformation, right? So stay out of the details. In a presentation like this, stay out of the details. We don't need to know the process and how you do it. Just talk about the transformation. Talk about, you already know where people are now, right? They're in pain. They're in that problem. There are people out there that are shy, right? For me, they're just shy. They're confused. They don't have clarity, and they don't know how to attract the right prospect. So what is that transformation? So for me, this is just how I play, this is what I call it. For me, it's always about getting clarity around their brand, right? Consulting, working with people who are in direct sales. So I might share something along, it won't be this graphic here, but I'll share something about my service, something that I help people with this transformation of being able to stand up, no longer being shy, getting clarity around why they exist, articulating it, and then monetizing that brand, right? Discover, articulate, and monetize over and over. Or I'll talk about the MBA program, micro branding. So there'll be something specific to the audience that explains how I help people do that. Where's my number 6? Almost at the end here. Number 6, paint the vision. Paint the vision. What does success look like? Actually, better yet, what does success feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? How real can you paint the finish line for people? Look, people want to follow people going somewhere, right? That's what this is all about. They want to follow people going somewhere. Nobody wants to follow someone who's just wandering. Nobody wants to, if you're going to wander the desert for 40 years, you're not going to get a whole lot of followers, right? That happened once, maybe, back in history. But in general, if you say, I'm just going to go wander around, you're not going to get a lot of people following you. But if you say, here's my mission, here's why I get out of bed in the morning, this is the mission I'm on, this is the impact I'm going to have on the world, and there's the finish line. That's what success looks like. You're going to find your tribe. You're going to find your people. So for me, my ultimate vision is personal free trade. I want you to do what you do best. I'm going to do what I do best. And when we do that, we're going to create so much surplus that we have to share. And when we share, scarcity goes away. And so goes everything tied to scarcity: homelessness, hunger, hate, misogyny, racism, whatever. All that scarcity driven stuff goes away because everyone's doing what they're really good at, what they love doing, and we're sharing with each other. And that's it. There's no barriers, interpersonal barriers, and there's no, maybe even no geopolitical barriers. We don't know, but we're going to become a human race again. That's my vision. That's what drives me. That's the finish line. So that's what I talk about in bringing humanity back to business. That's what we're looking to do. And then finally, and here's this, and this is a big one. I want everyone to remember this. If you remember nothing else from any of the stuff I just talked about, remember this one, please, because I just don't see this happen anywhere near enough. Have a call to action. How can they help you on this mission? What's the next step? If someone's listening to you and they're like, oh, this is absolutely fantastic. You're talking right to me. I get it. This makes sense. I want on the mission. How do I get on the mission? How do we get on the train? I want to get on your train. I'm at the station. I'm on the sidelines. Monica, how do I get on your train? I want to be a part of this. You got me. I'm in. You've got to give them the next step. In fact, I'm going to up the ante here. Not giving them the next step is rude. Not having a call to action is rude. And let me explain this. If I were talking about, here's the example. If I'm talking about I came up with this cure for cancer. Cure for cancer in a pill, no pain, cures any cancer within 3 days. And I'm talking about this great thing I did. I'm doing a presentation on it. And I'm saying, okay, thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye. How rude would that be? If that would basically be unethical for me to share that I have the cure for cancer, not even offer the next step, like just say goodbye, right? Thank you for listening. Thank you. I just educated you on how I cured cancer, but all right, that's it. I'm good. And we just leave. Don't do that to someone. You've got to give someone a path. You've already got them excited. You've got them interested. They're looking, you've given them hope. The worst place in the world, I believe, is something called hopelessness. Human beings can overcome anything. We're strong, right? We can overcome anything if something's in our way. But when we don't have hope, that's it. When there's no reason, when we lose all hope, it's done. So you've given someone hope in your presentation. You've given them an idea. You give them some inspiration, like, wow, maybe I can do something different. Maybe there's a chance for me too. Maybe this person can actually be a mentor or help me out. You've given them hope. Don't take that hope away by saying goodbye before giving them an opportunity to take the next step. Now, your call to action is not this big, become my client. That is not your call to action. Your call to action is the very next step, the tiny step, the next step, right? Don't talk about the 10th story and don't say, hey, become my client and buy this program and you can buy this car for me and buy, no. What's the very next step? Just the next one, right? So make sure you always, anytime you give a presentation, always finish with a way somebody can continue the journey with you after spending the past, whatever, half an hour with you right there, right? Okay. So here's my call to action. If you want to learn more about personal branding, I do a webinar occasionally. There's one coming up, I think this is next week, personalbrandwebinar.com. I go through the lighthouse effect. How do you attract your ideal client? And I don't do this very often. This is not publicly available, but for Monica, I wanted to offer to her group. If you go to joshzeppes.com, WDYD, that stands for what do you do? I will do a free, no sales whammy, none of that crap. I don't play like that. A free 30-minute mastery session, and we will come up with your unique answer to the question, what do you do? Or we'll work on a networking pitch, something small that you can have that business asset of yours and you can go use it. I want to give that to you all. Or if you just want to have a conversation, you just like, you have some questions and you're just like, I just want a little bit of your time to ask your questions, pick your brain, whatever you want to call it. Smilewithjosh.com is my calendar. You're always welcome to reach out. I am way over generous on my time and I don't mind doing that. It's actually fun because I love talking about this stuff. So I'm always happy to share. And I don't do any kind of sales whammy stuff either. So it's not like share with you and then I'm trying to get you to become my client. Nope. My clients know when they want to become my clients. They know when it's right and they approach me and I'm cool with that because that's all I can handle anyway. So, all right. So any questions now from anything I shared? Floor is open.
First of all, thank you very much for this amazing offer for the group. It's really good. I mean, yeah, thank you. I didn't expect that.
Absolutely. Well, I had to give you some next step. If somebody wants to take a next step in the journey, I'm available. I'm happy to help out.
You know what? While you were talking, I was just like thinking about, okay, how the hell do you have so much energy all the time? Because every time I meet you, you are on that level of energy. And then we went through the whole segment of your presentation. And yes, there is the number 7 about, why you are doing what you are doing and where you get your energy. And you told me that. And also in the number 7, it was the call to action. And I felt like, do we really need the call to action? And you gave me the answer. Because sometimes I feel like not giving the call to action maybe generate more conversation. But you are right about giving somebody basically the way to connect again. And what's the next step? Yeah.
Yes. Well, a lot of people get shy. They get weird because I don't know how many introverts are on this call, but I'm a severe introvert. And introverts don't like asking for the sale. They don't like asking for help. They don't like asking people for anything. So a call to action is a way of asking, isn't it? It's kind of like, hey, if you'd like to continue the conversation, let's do that. Here's some things you can do. So we get shy about that. And I just want to make sure everyone understands that you should feel weird by not having a call to action. It should feel rude. It should feel unethical, because it is. It's like seeing someone in pain and not offering to help them. Like they trip and fall on the sidewalk and they break and they twist their ankle and you just walk by. Like that's weird, right? Don't do that. There's people out there. If you're talking to an audience, there's people that need help and you don't know who that is. But you want to at least be able to offer something to that person. Offer a hand up, right? Not a hand out, but a hand up. Help someone up.
May I ask? Sorry.
Go
Sorry,
ahead,
I didn't
Vicky.
see. May I ask a question?
Of course.
Josh, I loved your presentation. Thank you. It's speaking to my heart. And yes, I am an introvert. And I'm very shy about, as you see, I'm not even on camera now. It's that bad. But just wondering if you would have like a first step to take for someone like me. And I believe what's coming from, and I don't know if somebody can relate to this, growing up in Hungary. I mean, I grew up in the communist system, and several times in school, you were called to tell your homework, or like you called on to front of the class. And then you got humiliated several times. So that's really deep in me. And I think that's where all the shyness is coming from. And I'm scared of being humiliated. I'm scared to called out saying you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. So how someone like me would get over their fear? Like first step. I mean, I know it's not gonna be easy and it's not going to just be overnight, but I think I'm in the right place. And thank you so much again for this presentation, because I just love what you do, and it really resonates with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So yes, so first step, one of the first steps I take with anybody is, I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, clarity, right? But let me be more specific. There's something, I call it the MVP combination, and it's mission, vision, purpose. That is a unique combination everyone has. And when we have clarity around purpose, mission, and vision, that's the first step to not just gaining confidence, but one of the things that introverts, and I'm speaking as an introvert, right, that we struggle with is we don't want the spotlight to be on ourselves. We don't want to be called to the front of the room, right? For any reason, we don't want the spotlight on us. So when we create a purpose, mission, and vision, and we brag about that instead of ourselves, so we're not in the spotlight, but our purpose, our mission, and our vision goes into the spotlight, though that's great, because those things are about someone else. So we're not even talking about ourselves. My mission is about other people. My vision is about other people. My purpose, bringing humanity back to business, is for other people. So having clarity around that and bragging about that and shining the light on that is not shining the light on ourselves. So we can stay, not I'm gonna say we stay in the darkness, but we're kind of holding the umbrella, but the umbrella is what everyone sees. So that's what I would suggest, is as a first step, like really get deep clarity. And by the way, when I talk about branding and getting clarity, I don't use the word authentic very often, because it's kind of a catchword, a cliche right now, but it's got to be your truth. You've got to get to that place where, like, why am I doing this? Why am I waking up every day? What is what impact do I want to have on the world? What do I stand for? And what do I stand against? When we start taking stands, amazing things happen, right? It doesn't become about us anymore. So we lose the fear of being ridiculed, because you can't ridicule me. I'm not talking about me. I'm not going up to the front of the class and talking about me. I'm talking about my stand. And you want to ridicule my stand? You want to ridicule my mission? I'm trying to help people become more human in business, so they can build deeper relationships. They can actually connect with people the right way. You're going to ridicule that? if you try and ridicule that, my entire audience is going to ridicule you. They're going to turn on you because I'm doing something good. I'm making a positive change in this world. And there's nothing you can say that's going to derail that. Right? I can't take personal offense. So hopefully this is making sense. When you start putting the spotlight on your mission, your purpose, your vision, you start putting the spotlight on why you exist, not you as a person, that starts changing the way you have your conversations. It starts changing how you feel about things. So that was a big answer for a very, but there's a lot to this. But hopefully that
Yes,
gives you
yeah.
kind of an inkling. Does that make sense at least?
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So
by the way, the cool thing
basically-
is, oh, go ahead, sorry.
So basically the spotlight, we bring the spotlight to, no, the spotlight is on the message.
Yeah, it's on the brand, call it. Let's
And
call it a
on-
brand.
But what we are speaking out, should I say? So it's not on us.
Yeah.
I noticed I have been running this group for over 3 years. And I noticed many times when I write something, I write as we are doing this and not
Yeah.
I am doing this. Although I am doing this, I put together this and this and this, but I always feel like we all doing this for each other.
That's right.
And the other thing is like, Briggy, I think it's what you said about the East European childhood. That's something about in all of us, why we are shy and why we are not confident enough to, or for a long time, not confident enough to stand up and stand out, because we learned basically to be the same with everybody else.
Yes. And stay in your lane and don't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be actually be a really good thing to stand against. So I always say you should stand for something that's good, that we need more of in the world, and stand against an evil. Stand against something bad that needs to be eradicated. And a lot of times people will find something in their past to stand against. Like, I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, right? You've heard that before from people. Oh, it was the worst part of my life. I really hated that part. And I just don't want anyone else to go through that. So I'm standing against that. And I'm going to help other people not have to go through that same experience, emotional, spiritual, mental, physical experience that I went through. So you can use some of that in your past. If that was traumatic for you, if that was something like, you know what, I don't want anyone to go through that. How can you use your genius? How can you take your expertise and your passion and speak to those people that are feeling like that, or that may end up in that kind of situation, and help them through that?
I basically use this phrase a lot because, I have been in business for 15 years and I know how struggling it was for a long time, because I didn't ask for help, because I have no clue that I could ask for help, or who could I ask for help, or what should I do? So basically everything was like, okay, I just have to figure it out on my own. And that's one of my mission, is basically to guide other business owners who are starting out and share my knowledge. What have I done and what worked and what didn't work?
Yes. Be
It's
the
not
person.
against.
Yeah, be the person you wish you would have had in your life back then.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Monica, thank you for saying that, because I know we just met, but that's exactly why I'm here also. So we definitely need to talk about, because that's what I'm trying to do with systems. That when I started, there were just so many things out on the market, so many things you learn when you're taking a course. And how do you know what to choose? How do you know what to pick? And you're right, you feel alone and you don't feel like there's somebody there to hold your hand and help you.
And as a small business owners, you have to do everything on your own.
Yes.
or that's how you
Yeah.
feel at the beginning,
Right.
at least, that you have to know everything, you have, and there are so many new things that you have to learn by day, basically.
Yes. Josh, thank you so much. I mean, I already feel so much better and more confident.
Good, good, good.
Lila,
can
can
do
you hear
this.
us? Lila, can you hear us? You are also new here.
Yeah, she may not be in a place where she can talk.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Fine.
No, I just wanted to see because she is new for the first time, I guess for the first time here in the presentation or in the happy hour, basically. Josh, thank you very much for your presentation. Let me just stop the recording, and I know
Absolutely.
everybody else will be happy.
Eva
that
has
they
her
could-
hand up. I don't know if she has a question.
Yes, yes.
Eva?
Hi, I really wanted to thank you so much for your presentation, Josh. Uh, I enjoyed it, and honestly, I never ever put this together in my mind, and now everything looks like was in place basically, and gives me some new ideas, because yes, we grew up in a country, and it wasn't about shyness, I should say that. It was about not praising ourselves. So I don't know how other people think about Hungary, but we've done so much good things in Hungary. But at the end of the day, we never felt that it was enough, or it was just satisfactory. So, and then we moved here, all of us who are participating in this awesome program by Monica. We just opened our eyes and looked around that the kids were so confident. Listen, I've been a teacher. All of my life is about teaching, elementary, secondary, university level. And I was so surprised when I was a substitute teacher in America, and I felt I have to share this with you guys. I was subbing in a special ed classroom, and a kid came down with a sheet of multiplication by 5. And of course, we know 5, it could be 5 or 0. That's it. There's no other way to multiply 5. She was a big girl. She was in 5th grade, but she was at least 15 or 16. So she came to me with the sheet, and I explained her, okay, this is easy. You know, you're not gonna get wrong because it's either 0 or 5. So after an hour or so, she finished the paper. She came back to me, and I looked at the paper and I said, oh my gosh, 4 times 5, it's 21. And my whole life was like turned upside down, thinking about my teaching method, or what was wrong, what did I not said to this person. So anyway, I looked at her and I said, oh, don't you remember we talked about this? She turned to me and said, you know what? It's 21. Maybe in your country, it's 20. But this is America, and this is 21. And to me, it was the end of the world. I actually drove back home and I told my husband, honey, it was my last time to do this kind of job, because I could not convince an American girl,
Nope.
it was just the disaster. So talking about shy people and talking about not having confidence enough, I guess this was a perfect example how we should approach our next presentation or conversation, or even just, ourselves. Because yes, we learn so much, we know so much, and we just have to sit down and think it through. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's the last word. And now I stop the presentation. Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you very much, everybody.
Absolutely.